The renewed debate over whether Japan might one day pursue nuclear weapons has struck a particularly sensitive nerve in China. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the People's Republic of China issued a sharp rebuke following comments by Japanese officials implying that Tokyo should consider acquiring nuclear weapons. The ministry described the statements as a serious breach of post-war norms and cautioned that Japan, under Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi, was drifting toward what Beijing characterized as dangerous remilitarization. Addressing reporters in Beijing, Foreign Ministry spokesperson Lin Jian said the remarks exposed entrenched thinking within segments of Japan's political leadership and right-wing circles that favor reviving military power. He argued that the comments were part of a broader pattern rather than a one-off lapse, describing them as a deliberate effort to probe international tolerance and challenge established red lines. While Japan continues to uphold its long-standing commitment to non-nuclear principles, Chinese officials, experts, and state media increasingly argue that Tokyo may be inching closer to crossing a red line. In this video, Defense Updates analyzes why China thinks that Japan is on the verge of pursuing nukes. Before we proceed, a word on NordVPN, which is one of the most trusted and fastest VPN brand that has a no-log policy validated by Deloitte. NordVPN provides a 256-bit encrypted tunnel that protects your privacy and also enables you to access contents that are blocked based on geolocation. Its threat protection system helps you avoid phishing, scams, and malware. NordVPN application is available for all the major platforms as well as browsers. Get an exclusive NordVPN deal with massive saving by going to nordvpn.com/defense or clicking the link in the description. It's risk-free with Nord's 30-day money-back guarantee. No discussion of China's response to Japanese rearmament, nuclear or otherwise, can be separated from history. The memory of Japan's imperial expansion in the early 20th century remains a core component of Chinese national identity. The invasion of China, the occupation of large swathes of territory, and the atrocities committed during that period are deeply embedded in public consciousness and political narratives. After World War II, Japan adopted a pacifist constitution, renouncing war and limiting its military posture strictly to self-defense. For China, this framework became a psychological and strategic reassurance. A Japan that was constitutionally constrained was easier to accept as a neighbor, even as bilateral relations fluctuated. Any hint that Japan might abandon these post-war restraints, especially by acquiring nuclear weapons, is therefore interpreted in Beijing as a return to dangerous patterns of behavior. Chinese media often frame such developments not as isolated security adjustments, but as signs of revived militarism. This narrative resonates strongly with domestic audiences, reinforcing fears of historical repetition. Beyond history, China's concerns are rooted in power politics. Beijing sees itself as a rising great power, seeking to shape the political and security architecture of East Asia. A nuclear-armed Japan would complicate that ambition. Japan is not just another regional state, it is the world's third-largest economy, a technological powerhouse, and a close U.S. ally. If such a country were to acquire nuclear weapons, it would dramatically alter regional deterrence dynamics. China would no longer be facing only the United States as a nuclear peer in the Pacific, but also a nearby and technologically sophisticated rival. Let us now look at the reasons China feels that Japan could swiftly acquire nukes. One reason China takes the idea of Japanese nuclearization seriously is Tokyo's technological capacity. Japan is widely regarded as a latent nuclear power, a country that does not possess nuclear weapons, but could theoretically develop them in a relatively short time. Japan has one of the world's most advanced civilian nuclear industries and a large stockpile of plutonium. While officially intended for energy production, this material can be repurposed for weapons under different political circumstances. Japanese industry also has unmatched expertise in precision manufacturing, electronics, and material science, key components of modern nuclear systems. Chinese experts often emphasize that Japan would not face the same technological hurdles as countries like North Korea or Pakistan once did. In their view, Japan could leapfrog many developmental stages, producing sophisticated nuclear weapons faster and more efficiently than most nations. This perception fuels Chinese suspicion. Even if Japan has no immediate intention of going nuclear, Beijing worries about what Tokyo could do if its security environment deteriorated or if its political leadership changed. Nuclear weapons are not just about warheads. They are about delivery systems. Here, too, China sees reasons for concern. Japan's aerospace and missile technologies are among the most advanced in the world. Its space launch vehicles, solid-fuel rockets, and guidance systems share many characteristics with ballistic missile technology. Although these programs are civilian or defensive in nature, they are inherently dual-use. Japan has also acquired long-range cruise missiles, including US-made Tomahawks, and is upgrading its domestically produced systems. While these are conventionally armed, their compatibility with nuclear payloads is not lost on Chinese experts. From Beijing's perspective, Japan already possesses much of the infrastructure required for a nuclear deterrent, minus the warheads themselves. This fuels the belief that Tokyo is only a political decision away from nuclearization. Japan has also approved a record defense budget exceeding $58 billion for fiscal year 2026, its largest yet. The Taiwan issue amplifies all of these concerns. China considers Taiwan a core national interest, and any foreign involvement in a Taiwan contingency is seen as direct interference. In recent years, Japanese leaders have increasingly linked Taiwan's security to Japan's own. Tensions between Japan and China have reached new heights following Prime Minister Takaichi's recent comments involving Taiwan. The dispute began in November when Takaichi told Japanese legislators that should China ever use force against Taiwan, the move would constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan. This rhetorical shift reflects legitimate strategic concerns. Taiwan lies close to Japanese territory, and a conflict there would directly affect Japan's sea lanes and island defenses. However, in Beijing, such statements are interpreted as evidence that Japan is aligning more closely with U.S. efforts to contain China. If Japan were to acquire nuclear weapons, Chinese planners fear it could use that deterrent to discourage Chinese military action in the Taiwan Strait. In this sense, Japanese nuclearization would not just be a regional issue, it would directly affect China's long-term strategy toward Taiwan. From Japan's point of view, the discussion about nuclear weapons, where it exists at all, is rooted in deterrence, not aggression. Tokyo faces an increasingly complex security environment. North Korea's growing nuclear arsenal, China's rapid military expansion, and uncertainty about the long-term reliability of U.S. security guarantees. Some Japanese strategists argue that relying solely on the American nuclear umbrella may become riskier in a more multipolar world. However, these views remain marginal, and Japan's official stance has not changed. Still, even marginal debates are enough to alarm China, which tends to interpret any ambiguity as a sign of deeper intent. Deep down, Beijing knows that its hegemonic designs in the region are in turn pushing Tokyo towards possible nuclearization.